Morning everyone, I hope you're well. Welcome. I just thought we'd do another snippet video, so I'm using my usual size card, 4 inches by 6 inches, to create our next snippet, and we're on snippet 31. Can't believe we're on snippet 31 already. So I'm going to start off by using stamp set Fallen Leaves, which is stamp set 806, and I'm going to use this element here, and I'm going to use Versafine Clair, Verdant and Shady Lane, and I'm going to ink the stamp with the Verdant, and then I'm going to use touches of the Shady Lane, just touching it very lightly, and then going to turn the card around and add some stamping to the top of the card. So I'm going to repeat that with Shady Lane and Verdant. So the Verdant first, and then light touches of the Shady Lane. And let's do that one there. And repeat that once again. The Verdant first, and then touches of the Shady Lane. Let me just move those out of the way, just so we can see what we've got. Just so you can see, we've got beautiful 2 shades of the green, which are lovely. I'm then going to use one of my circular apertures. You can either draw around a jar or use your circular die cuts, and I'm using a 2 3/4 inch circle, and I'm just going to draw around that circle. So that's 2 3/4 inches. And make sure that I have got the right one. I'm sure I have. Yeah. So 2 3/4 inches. Then what I want you to do is cut one of those circles out of paper, because you need to cut it out of paper, because if you cut it out of card you end up with a little ridge. So I'm going to place the paper, which means there's no ridge, it's nice and flat. I'm then going to use Twisted Citron Distress Oxide ink, and I'm just going to apply that all over the circle lightly, and I'm just using one of my brushes which allow me just to place that colour very lightly. So I'm using Twisted Citron. I'm then going to old paper. I'm going to use some of that old paper, and now I'm going to make the area towards the bottom a little darker than towards the top. I've got my window open because it's very humid, so the birds are joining me. They're singing along to my voice, my dulcet tones. I'm then going to use Bundled Sage Distress Oxide ink, and again mainly putting a lot of the colour towards the bottom. So that is Bundled Sage. I'm then going to take, hopefully she says, if I can move the inks, I'm then going to use Salvaged Patina. So let's use our Salvaged Patina. And then we're just going to add a bit of that Salvaged Patina, mainly towards the bottom. Just to add a little bit of that Salvaged Patina. And it is nice if you can sort of build up the colour. What I'm going to do then is add a touch of Mermaid Lagoon. So I'm going to pick up that Mermaid Lagoon and just take off the excess, and then I'm going to add a little bit of that Mermaid Lagoon just on the bottom. Dab your brush and then take off the excess, and just add a little bit of that Mermaid Lagoon to give me a touch of the blue. I'm then going to use Stamp Set 805, which is my beautiful Stag. So we're going to use the Stag. I'm going to ink the stag up with black ink. So let's see if you can do it here so that you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to use the black ink mainly on the stag. Just make sure that you've got plenty of ink on that stag because you've got a silhouette stamp. Now I don't mind getting a little bit of the little squares, but I don't sort of want the big numbers. So you can also dab it just so that you blend that out. Then what I'm going to do is hover over and just add part of my stag. Now you've got the distress oxides below, so just give that a little bit of time just to soak into the card. You've got that distress oxide on there, so the card is not absorbent. So you just give it time because it's like a barrier, so you just need to give that time just to soak in there. And if you miss a little bit of the silhouette, don't worry, you can just colour that in. I've got the acrylic blocks, so I can just lift that acrylic block, not the ink. So just allow it just to soak in there just for a few moments. Don't be in any rush just to lift it too soon. There we go. And then we've got our silhouette. Then if you've got a little bit that is, say, it's not as dark as you want it to be, just go in and just add your black with your micron pen. Just add a little bit of that black with your micron pen. I personally like it, but just to show you, if you want to colour in certain areas, say that it's not dark enough for you, then you can just add a little bit of that. So remove the circle, and then what I'm going to do is draw the top of my bauble. We can add a little bit of white, and then I'm just going to add a little bit of a thread just to the bauble. And then what we need to do is we need to grab the little miniature stamp set. So if we bring that in, which is stamp set 756. So we're going to use the text stamp from Miniatures. I've got that on my A7 acrylic block, and I'm going to use Morning Mist Versifying Clair. So let's just bring in a little piece of copier paper, move this to the side, bring in the copier paper so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm using the Morning Mist, which is a grey, and what I'm going to do is take off the first layer of ink, and I'm then going to add the second generation to my card. I will pick this up so that you can see. So stamp the first generation on there, and we'll add the second generation to our card. So again, using that grey ink, stamp your first generation and second generation onto the card, because then it remains in the background. It doesn't come to the foreground because I'm using that second generation print. So going to continue with that, just going down the right hand side of my card, just adding a little bit of that detail. So first generation on the card, there we go. I will just lift that up just so that you can see those details. I'm then going to add some touches of white with my gel pen. Now you would make sure that your ink is definitely dry, personally. Then what I'm going to do is use a red Posca pen, and I'm just going to add a few red berries just to my foliage. You can add more berries if you wish. You don't have to have the berries or where you've got them. You can just add more berries if you wish. Then I'm going to take my grey Inktense pencil, and I'm just going to add a little bit of the grey just under here. Just to shade that out. Just use my water brush, which we preferably don't want with red on, do we? Not at all. There we go. And then we're just going to blend that out, just to give that a little bit of a 3D element. Spend a little bit more time, if you can, just shading that out. I'll just see how much time I've got. I'm then going to add some white Posca pen. I then don't want to forget the top of the bauble, and just add a little white touch there. I'm then going to go back to the, why can you never find it? The Stag. I don't know where the Stag cover is, where my Stag cover is, but I've got the Stag stamp, and I'm going to use the Winter Wishes. There it is, here it is. So I'm going to use the Winter Wishes that's on the Stag stamp set 805. Just going to stamp that onto a scrap of card. Add your Winter Wishes onto your scrap of card. There we go. Then we'll cut that one out. It's up to you how much of the card you keep on there. There we go. And I'm then going to add this just to my card with my tonic glue, my tonic adhesive, just to here, like so. And then I'm just going to add a little, let's move those out of the way. Then going to add, let's make sure that's straight. Just going to add a little bit of that Inktense, which is the grey, and just blend that out. Just blend this out a little bit more. And then that is snippet 31 done. If I bring in my book, my snippet books, that's 30. This will be snippet 31, and it just looks beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So let's move that snippet book. So that's snippet 31, and what you could do then is create a second one so that you've got a Christmas card, okay? And on that one you could add a little bit of glitter with your little quickie glue pen. So there's a little bit of glitter on that one, so then you can make a Christmas card. So I hope you enjoyed snippet 31, and I look forward to seeing your version. Love to all, and I'll see you all soon.